Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, depending on where you're tuning in from. Welcome to Message to Movement Winning at Being You. This is a space where we have real conversations with people who are using their voice, their experiences, and their purpose to create impact, not just for themselves, but for others. Today, I'm excited to be joined by Dr. David Martin. We're going to talk about identity, purpose, leadership, and growth, and what it actually looks like to win at being who you are without pretending or faking it. Dr. David Martin is a professional speaker, author, consultant, and transformational leader dedicated to helping individuals, families, and communities break negative cycles and walk in purpose. After spending 15 years battling drug and alcohol addiction, David experienced life-changing deliverance through faith in Jesus Christ. Rather than allowing his past to define him, he turned his pain into purpose and his testimony into a tool for impact. Through his signature PPT Formula, David equips students with practical strategies for lasting change. He has spoken in schools, churches, and community organizations, empowering audiences to move from survival mode to growth, stability, and purpose. David is the founder of Martin's Empowerment Group and continues to expand his work through speaking, teaching, and curriculum development to plant seeds of greatness to students around the world. Without further ado, Doc Martin, glad to have you today, my brother.
Nah, it's always an honor to talk to you, Mills. And man, that was an introduction right there, brother. I like that how you put that together, man. That encouraged me even the more. I got to put in some more work, brother.
All right. Well, tell us a little bit about your journey.
Well, my journey, I'm like you said, Dr. David Martin. I'm from Port Arthur, Texas, man, about an hour away from Houston, Texas. And, my life was pretty much like normal, like anybody else, mom and dad and, playing in the neighborhood as a kid and things like that. But, once I got to high school, that's kind of like where the experimenting began, if I could put it like that. And, once I figured out that I wasn't going to the NBA, and things like that, I just, I started like just playing around, like, smoking a little marijuana and drinking little alcohol, MD 2020 and things like that, little silly little drinks, going to the school dances and all that. But then it escalated. Like, as, we got older, it was time to start making money. And, I would say that, many of my friends, dabbed into like the drug world, selling drugs and things like that. And I was, right there with them. These my brothers, these my bros, these my day ones, whatever you want to call it. So, we rocking out together, wrong or whatever. But then, like I said, it escalated. We was drinking alcohol, smoking marijuana, but then we started drinking lean, the cough syrup and all that kind of stuff. And with that, it came with all the pills. We taking Xanax, Vicodins, Lorcets, Somas, just any kind of muscle relaxer to go with the lean. And then it just kept escalating, Mills. Next thing I know, we smoking PCP now. So, that's embalming fluid, putting it on cigarettes, smoking that. And then it just kept escalating. And, now I look up, now we sniffing cocaine. So, and it's not like we was just doing, well, I'm gonna talk about me. It's not like I was just doing one drug for that day. Like, I was doing the whole menu that I just said. Like, we doing all them drugs. So my body, and this went on for 15 years. That's what I'm saying. I know it's only by the grace of God that I'm still alive, because one, I wasn't drinking no water. It was just drinking lean and alcohol. Might drink a little water to swallow a pill, things like that. But then it's like, life started happening, got caught by the police with marijuana, then next thing got caught with the police with codeine, with the cough syrup. And that I was facing 5 to 99 years in jail when I walked into that lawyer office. So that kind of opened up my eyes a little bit, Mills. You know what I mean? That because I really wasn't about that life, going to jail.
So let me stop you right there. So what did a typical day look like for you?
Okay, well, No, I got you. A typical day in the life would be wake up for breakfast. We're gonna smoke some marijuana. And then, as we go, then we're gonna put a little something on our stomach, might go to Jack in the Box, get something to eat. And then after that, we're gonna take a couple of Xanax. The marijuana is smoking all day long, like, throughout this day. But then after we take the Xanax, it's about 1 o'clock in the evening. That's when we're gonna start sipping syrup. And that sipping syrup will kind of go on out throughout the whole day. And that's, Monday through Friday. That's pretty much the day. When nightfall hit, might smoke a little bombing fluid. And it's like, with all those drugs, those was downers. So
Right.
in order to stay up all night, we'll hit a little cocaine to wake up.
Mm.
So now we geeked up off the cocaine. But then I didn't like that feeling. So I would always have to take some more Xanax so I could go to sleep at night. And this is, every day. Don't say if the club open, then we go into the club and we drinking Hennessy mixed with all that. And that's just a normal day, and the people I'm around, we selling drugs, we doing whatever, we partying, so that was pretty
So
much,
was that how you was making a living? You were selling and
yeah,
to
selling
support
drugs.
yourself?
And I would always have a job too, though, Mills. Like, so I would have like a little job, find a job that wasn't drug testing. And then, and then I would, work. And then, me personally, I was doing more drugs than I was selling. Like, I would be selling something, but it wasn't like pay bills or nothing like that. You know what I mean? Like, because I was still staying at home with my mom's and things like that. So I didn't have bills or staying at a cousin house or a girl house or something. I ain't had no bills. So I just was partying, man.
So what was the pivotal moment? What made you say, you know what, this is enough? I gotta
Okay.
turn my life around.
Well, I would say it was a couple of moments that kind of happened back to back. And the first one was I was walking through our mall, our central mall, one day, and it was me and my homies, and we was walking around smelling like weed. We had our cups of syrup, just walking the mall, buying some clothes, and I saw one of my classmates, and she was with her husband and her kids, and she gave me the biggest hug, and you know what I'm saying, and but I'm looking at them, and I was like. And then I looked at myself and I'm like, man, I'm in the mall walking around smelling like weed, selling drugs. And, my classmates are starting families and things like that. So that was the first moment that I was like, it got to be more to life. And then the second one was I'm at one of my friend's house and it was like in July, about 2:30 in the evening. And as we're sitting down there just hanging out, three guys ran in the house with ski masks and guns. And so I'm a part of a home invasion. And next thing I know, the gun is to my head. And I heard the guy say, if y'all don't give us the dope or the money, I'm popping him first. And they didn't say popping him first, he's shoving that gun on my head. So it's like now, as I'm laying there with a gun in my head, I just whispered, Mills. I just whispered, God help me. And I wasn't in church. I wasn't praying. I wasn't doing none of that, but I knew to call on God. And when I called on God, man, the house got so quiet. And next thing I know, man, them guys ran out the house and I'm still here today. So after that, that kind of really was like, I'm really not about this life. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, so one day I'm riding around selling drugs by myself, just smoking weed. And then I get a phone call and they like, everybody call me Punchy. So they like, hey, Punchy, come over. They got this lady in a BMW, at the house looking for you. So I'm thinking I found a nice lady at the club, Mills. You know what I mean? So I heard me get to the house, but it was a lady telling us that they had a job program at this church, Jireh World Church and Outreach Ministries, under the leadership of Apostle Simon Caron and Pastor Polana Caron. And they had a job program. So, I got in the job program. They started inviting me to church. And after that, man, my life just started changing, bro.
Wow. Man, I appreciate you being so vulnerable and sharing your story and everything. And so let's move to the present. And so
Yeah.
you're doing some big things right now. I follow you and I see the things that you're doing. I see there's an Armando that said, "What's up, brother?" I'm sure you know him.
Yeah, my
Uh,
brother.
so yeah, Armando's watching you, and we
Yeah.
appreciate you chiming in, Armando. And so, man, we linked up maybe about a year or so ago. Me and you, talking about speaking and everything, and I've had a chance to look at your journey, and I really respect it. And so, of course, you have your background, that those challenges that you've experienced. What makes you so passionate about what you're doing right now?
It's real simple. I ain't even gonna lie, because I I when I'm looking at myself now, Mills, and I see all the things that God is allowing me to do, write books and speak at schools and speak at prisons. Like when I was that young man, I didn't see that. You know what I mean? Like I thought I was supposed to be some rapper running the streets doing drugs all day. You know what I mean? So I was listening to a lie on the way that I was supposed to be, the way that I was supposed to live. So my goal is to impact the students by going there and letting them know who they really are. Like letting them know the power in my PPT formula, like you said. In order to find that, you got to change people, places, and thinking. So it's like I just want them to see themselves different, because they could be living a lie, and living that lie could kill you, because I had a gun to my head. You know what I mean? Like I had friends that overdosed on drugs and they done less drugs than me. So I just got a passion of going out, man, letting them kids know, man, that they got to see the greatness planted on the inside of them, man. But you got to give it the proper water, the proper sunlight, and you got to make sure it's in good ground. So, that's it, man. I'm just letting them kids know, man, y'all got to see the greatness in it. And I want to be one of them people to water that seed.
And I know you mentioned earlier that you're doing a lot of this locally in your community. And so
Yeah.
let's kind of tie all of that in together as far
Okay.
as, of course, you have a history.
Yes.
And so now you've changed. How
Yes.
has that been? How have people received you
Man,
knowing your past?
right. Nah, to be honest, bro, like, man, I love my city. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, they embraced it, they encouraged me, so these principals, they gave me an opportunity, you know what I mean, to come in. Like the first principal, Miss Washington, at a Head Start, like she gave me an opportunity to come do like parent engagement, come start a dad's club, and then like I meet her, and the next thing you know, I meet Miss Baptiste at the early college, and she gave me an opportunity, come share your story with my students. Matter of fact, I'm going back there this week to go share the story with the student. You know what I mean? So she done brought me up multiple times, Miss Washington multiple times, and then I meet Miss Sharp at another elementary, and and she like, look, I want you to come speak to the parents at my school, and things like that. And then I meet Miss Harris at another elementary, and I'm just meeting all these amazing principals in my community that that's allowing me to come in and just pour out what I got on the inside of me. The superintendent, Dr. Porter, like, he come shake my hand, always give me a good encouraging word every time, I see him. So it's like, man, Mr. Wagner, like one of my old principals, like, and the list could go on and on of the people that encourage me, bro. So it's been amazing, man. Like I said, I love my city, man.
So what would you tell people though? Because I know there's a lot of people out there that want to have an impact. They want to do things similar to you, but they might be looking at themselves like, man, I got a history,
Yeah.
and I know people going to be like throwing shade at me and all kind of other stuff. How have you overcome that mentally?
Like
Or
mentally,
what
it's,
advice would you give somebody on that?
yeah. I give somebody this right here. Whatever you done is your past. For example, for me, everything that we're talking about, Mills, that I done was in the 90s and early 2000s. So if people want to stay in my past, they in the 90s, bro. Like it's 2026. So if let people stay over there
Love it.
and you keep mashing for your dreams, you keep going. Like, hey, let them people stay back there in your past. Because one day, if you stay persistent and you don't give up, those people that stuck in your past, they gonna come to the future. They ain't gonna have no choice. Like, some people just kind of, might take them a little while because, like you say, Mills, some people like to hold on to that old you. It's some people that still hold on to the old me, and that's okay. In the beginning, I tried to fuss with them to get them to see a new me, but then it hit me. Let them stay in the 90s, man. Just keep moving, and that's it. Just keep moving. Let them people stay in the past.
Man, I love that wisdom because again, that's something that I've ran across in talking with a lot of different people. Either they want to keep you in the past, they're like,
Yes.
"Oh, I remember you back in the day," and blah blah blah. And instead of speaking life into you, they speaking death into you.
Yeah.
And so I appreciate that wisdom. And so I know you created a children's book. And so
Yes.
what was the inspiration for that?
Okay, well, hey man, I love the kids. We're gonna start there, and then we're gonna go to this. So, one of the first book that I made, well, my second book was titled Good Ground, and that's where I introduced my PPT formula, changing people, places, and thinking. So once that book came out, I started speaking like at a prison unit, juvenile detention center, like to schools. I started speaking. So it just hit me one day. Like, I got something for the adults. I got something for, bigger kids. What about the babies? Like, you ain't got nothing. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, so it just hit me where, so I took Good Ground and I just put it where an elementary child could understand it. And it was just basically, so that book is titled Grow Big on Good Ground. So I have a storyline in the book because right now I'm doing a book tour, going to read to the kids everywhere. And so I got a storyline in the book. And then I also have affirmations in the book that I get the kids to like scream out loud and speak positive. And then I got activities for the kids to write in the book. So it was just me, from that adult book, making something for the kids, man. So I could touch K through 12.
Man, incredible. And so what are some when you go and speak with kids, man, it can be kind of unpredictable at times. I mean, they're generally very well behaved. They're very, very receptive. So I'm not even going to refer to the behavior, but I'm just like, what kind of questions do they have, or like what kind of feedback do they give you? Is there something that just really stands out to you that maybe touched your heart, or you're like, wow,
When
they
you say,
got it.
who, I'm sorry, who you saying? Like the little kids or,
Yeah, the little ones. Hmm.
man, those little ones, to be honest, they be like, just so pure, so precious. And they be like excited that they met an author. You know what I mean? Like that be the biggest thing with them. They be like, "You're an author," and then I'm able to tell them you could be an author too. And then I ask them like, "What kind of book would you write?" And man, them kids get to speaking and like what kind of books they would write, man. So it's like for me, what I see the most is I give them hope. I give them a dream, like something that they could do at a young age because I let them know you can write a book right now. You ain't got to wait till you be old like me. You know what I'm saying? Like, hey, let's start writing your book now. I'm going to help you publish it. You know what I mean? And it's just like seeing the light in their eyes. Like I said, watering that seed of greatness that's already on the inside of them, bro. And that be the biggest thing though with them that I always notice that they be so excited to meet an author and then to hear that they could be an author too.
And you talk about greatness. What do you feel is preventing most people that want to be great, number one,
Right?
from becoming great?
One, it's a couple of things I would say. One, fear. You
Mm.
know, fear of the unknown, fear of I don't even know how to do this. And the reason why I could say that because that's what hit me at in the beginning of all this. It was fear. Like it's like people. I'm talking about. I remember a church member, Miss Sharice, man. She came up to me after Bible study. One day I taught Bible study, and she was like, "Man, that Bible study right there that you taught, you should put that in a book." And in my mind, I already was thinking about putting it in a book. But to hear her say it, I was like, okay, I need to put this in a book. But the fear of, man, I don't know how to publish a book. Man, that's gonna cost $10,000. Now I'm lying to myself. You know what I mean? Now I'm listening to the wrong voices. You know, I'm going to talk to people that never wrote a book, so they're going to put their limitations on you too. And then until I started talking to people that, you know what I'm saying, that like that believed in me, I'ma say, like, man, you can write a book. And then I'm talking to my wife. Next thing I know, she reached out to someone secretly about publishing my book. And then she done paid them. And man, I got a book. And then I saw that it wasn't that hard. So I would say fear. And then it would be the other thing of you got to get uncomfortable. Like you have to get in rooms where you're not the smartest person. You gotta network with people. You gotta go meet strangers. You gotta, you know what I mean? Like you can't just stay in your circle and think that you're gonna just be doing all these great things if like no one in your circle is doing this. You know, that's why I talk about changing the people. And when I say changing people, I'm not saying that you gotta leave all your friends alone, you know, but you need to meet some new friends that's doing the things that you want to do. Mills, I had to meet you because you're doing something that I like to do, that I want to do. So I need to get to know you because, like my friends, my day ones, man, I might have some friends that still outside. You know what I mean? But they know that they could call me at any time, you know, and I'm going to answer the phone. If they need prayer, I'm going to pray with them. You know, I just can't go. Let me put it like this. I just can't go to the barbecue no more. Cause you know what I'm saying? I ain't, you know, I'm not smoking and drinking and you know what I'm saying? If they selling drugs, you know, all that type of stuff. I can't go around that no more. But they respect me. You know what I'm saying? For that. You know, so, you know, basically that's it, bro. Fear, man, that'll hold you back. And then not wanting to get uncomfortable. That'll hold you back, bro.
I like what you said about networking because sometimes it's a little understated. And of course, some of us, like even myself, I'm naturally an introvert. So
Yeah,
it's not something that comes extremely natural to me, but I've definitely worked on it a lot.
that's good.
And so
Yeah.
I just want you to kind of speak to that. Like, how has networking helped you in regards to what you're doing, the opportunities that you're finding, and just your own growth, whether it be in
Man,
speaking, whether it be in your other business ventures?
I got you. Like networking for me has been the lifeline of all this because it been times that like in my walk, you know, it got hard. You know, it would have been easier for me to quit and say, man, I'm not about to do all this, man. You know what I'm saying? But then that networking, it's like it'll be someone to reach out to me that I met 3 months ago, you know, with an opportunity. Like, hey, David, you know, so it's like they say, plugging that pipeline. And you don't know when something gonna come. You know what I mean? And so it opened up so many doors. I met so many amazing people, like encouraging people and strangers. Because, and I had a conversation with Floyd Hope, and I'm gonna be on his podcast Friday. But it's like
Awesome.
growing up, we was taught like talking to strangers and all that. We was being friendly. Like, you know what I'm saying? So, man, I can't be friendly, just go and talk to people I don't know and all that type of stuff. And but nah, we supposed to be friendly. Like being friendly is gonna take you to the next level because ain't nobody gonna open up a door for somebody that got a frown on their face. But if you
Mm.
got a smile on your face, man, they gonna open up that door, they gonna let you in, they gonna feed you, they gonna give you something to drink, and man, you know what I mean? They gonna clothe you, they gonna do all that, man. So networking is key, man. That's how you gonna like get to your destination. You know, it's people that I met, like, you know, in this last couple of months, that has taken me to a higher level just with the information that they have. Hey, brother, you one of them. Whenever I get on the phone and get to talking to you, and next thing I know, you done gave me a strategy, and I'm out there doing it. And it's like, and it's moving the needle. As long as because networking gonna move the needle, you're gonna get closer and closer to your destination. But if you just stay in your own circle and don't go out, man, like I joined the Chamber of Commerce in my city, like the Port Arthur Chamber of Commerce, like I'm a part of that. And they bring me around so many amazing people. And they just pouring into me, telling me how to run a business, telling me, you know, they teaching me. Like I can't get that teaching if I just stay in the house. I can't get that teaching if I'm only talking to people that I knew in the 90s. I can't get that teaching if I'm scared it's gonna make me look friendly.
So I know you have you have a wide range, I guess, or a wide audience. You know, I know you're
Yeah,
talking to kids, you've done college students, fatherhood programs, um, you've done presentations for those that are incarcerated.
yeah.
Do you have a particular lane that you're like, man, absolutely love this. This is like my true passion right
Yeah,
here.
I got you. So for me, like I started off just wanting to speak to high school students, like, you know, like touching in with those seniors before they get into the real world and things like that, and just tell them how fast they could get in a situation. You know what I mean? Because that's what happened to me. One day I was a senior in high school. It was all fun and games, you know, and all that type of stuff, you know, doing a little drinking, a little smoking. But then fast forward, I got a gun in my head. Like, you know what I mean? Like your life. So you got to be very careful, you know, with your people, places, and thinking, because you can lose your life messing around in the wrong places. You can lose your life being around the wrong people. You can lose your life with the wrong thinking. So really, my passion was like high school students, but you know, I just started getting other opportunities to do other things. And it's not like I ain't got something on the inside of me that they need to hear. So I was like, okay. And it's just coming from my heart. It's coming from my spirit. It's from experiences that I really went through. So it's easy to go talk to some high school students one day, but then I might have to go to the LeBlanc unit the next day and go speak to some inmates. Some of them might be doing 30 years in jail, but I connect with them because I could speak their language, you know? And it's like, so then I could go from a prison and then go speak to some dads because I could speak their language. You know, I had a dad, you know, now I'm a father. So it's like, you know, we speak in the same language. So it's like when an opportunity comes, now don't get me wrong, I'm not taking every opportunity that comes to me because some things I just don't have no experience in it. You know, it's not my expertise. So that's why I love networking, because I could go get somebody else. Like if somebody just on some, hey, we need someone just to really touch mental health, like just, you know, on a deeper level and things like that. You know, I might go get Coach K, you know, and say, hey, coach, they need somebody to, you know, touch on mental health. I know you do that for young ladies. Can you go, you know, go do that? You know, so because like I said, I'm not gonna go somewhere where I don't have the expertise. I haven't been through that way before, you know. So to me, it'd be easy. Now, like you said, where would I go? I would love just to just tap in just with the high school students, but you know, at the same time, hey man, God might tell me I need to go preach at this church Sunday. You know what I mean? And I'm going, you know, I'm going to preach. You know, so it's just kind of like, you know, wherever God send me, you know, I'm going. But if I had to like just choose one, what I thought for my life, I'd have just been straight high school.
Mhm. Okay. And so I like the fact that you brought up, being a preacher.
Yeah,
And so I guess that's a whole nother avenue right there. And I know it brings some unique challenges, and the outward appearance is probably much more different than behind the scenes. And so
yeah.
since you're that person that has that insight, how would you describe that? What do people probably take for granted when it comes to what ministers, as far as even putting together a message, have to do compared to what maybe you do as a speaker outside of the ministry?
Okay, well, I mean, one thing, it's the church setting. So that's a different setting than in the schools. It's certain things that you might say in the pulpit that you might not, you say it in schools and things like that. A different etiquette. It's just, but at the same time, for me personally, I be feeling like I'm in the same place, bro.
Okay.
Like, you know what I'm saying? Like all of this is like my ministry. And that's because this is where it all birthed off. First, I was speaking in the church for like 10 years before I started speaking in the schools. Like I started off teaching at church, but I started off teaching like programs at church. And then after that, they started allowing me to, be in the pulpit and give a Sunday sermon and things like that. But then it's like God just spoke to me on some, hey, David, I need you to start going to the schools because everybody that needs to hear about my love, need to hear about my grace, need to hear about my mercy, they might never walk through the church doors. So I'm sending you out to go to them. And that's whenever I started going out to the schools. But when I go to the schools, I'm still like, now of course I can't say scripture and things like that in the schools, but it's still the same morals and principles that I'm taking from the church and I'm just bringing it to the schools. So for me, I ain't even gonna lie, bro. It be like, to me, it be the same thing. It's just
Mhm.
that in schools, I can't say, Matthew 6:33 says, seek ye first the kingdom of God and his righteousness, then all these things will be added to you. I can't say that, but I could tell them, do the right thing because it's the right thing to do. Like, you know what I'm saying? And it could still pull from, it pulls from it. You know what I mean? So for me, they be the same, brother.
And so you have so many experiences speaking in front of audiences, whether it be at church, whether it be at schools or wherever else. Do you have one in particular that's just super memorable? Something that you're like, man, that one went off great, or you just got some incredible feedback, or just again something that just really that experience that just really stands out to you.
And so I would say it's like two of them. One, and they from both different areas. Like one was in the church whenever I had finished preaching and I was like asked to be a guest speaker at a church. And in my sermon, I had shared a piece of my testimony. And like one of the mothers of the church, like, oh, an older lady, you know what I'm saying? And it's like she talk to you. So at first, I got kind of nervous because m- m- mothers in the church, hey man, they gonna tell you how it is. They gonna say, they not holding nothing back. They gonna tell you straight up what it is. And she just came up to me and she was like, "Baby, I can't believe that you was doing all that stuff. I don't see, I don't see that in you." Because I was sharing, how I was addicted to drugs and all that. And she was like, I really can't believe it because I'm looking at you. And that was like one of them days that I was like, man, I'm really different. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, where this lady can't even believe that everything that I'm saying I done, she don't even believe it. So it was like I knew God had cleaned me up, like in a different type of way. Cause now it don't even, I was in the fire, but you can't even smell the smoke on me. You know what I'm saying?
I like that.
But then after that, it was when I was speaking at Woodrow at the early college session. And I speak to it was like maybe like ninth and 10th grade boys and things like that. And I was sharing, my story. And then I get a phone call from one of my boys from back in the day. And he like, hey, what's up, Punch? And I'm like, hey, what's up, my man? And I had called him a nickname that, only I call him. And then I just hear him like scream, see, I told you that I knew him. I told you this my boy. And I'm like, man, what is going on? And he like, man, my son came home telling me that David Martin came speak to the kids and stuff like that. And he telling me your story and man, and I was like telling him, yeah, everything he said was true. Like I was there. Like, you know what I'm saying? So it showed me that like these kids was really listening to me. Cause like I didn't even think they was listening at one time. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like some of them, like, now don't get me wrong, some of them be locked in. But then it be some that, they kind of being silly and all that kind of stuff, being like me. So I knew that they was really locked in. And the things that I said really stuck with them because they was going home, talk to their parents about it. So, that was just letting me know like the impact that I could have with my words, that it didn't just stop because I talked at by, 1 o'clock. I'm getting this phone call at 7. So it's like that stuck with that child all that time that I could be like this, but now I'm like that. Like, so I know if he did that, I felt like other students would do that too. And it'd just be an impact, man. So that was kind of cool too. Cause that was the first time that I ever got a phone call from a parent, about like telling me thank you for coming speak to, to his son.
Man, that's incredible. I love it, man. I love it. So what do you have coming up? I mean, I see you doing all kind of things. I see you talking at schools. I know you had a partnership with Chick-fil-A. And so
Yeah.
what's some things you got coming up in the near future that we need to be paying attention to?
Well, we're gonna continue with the reading book tour. Like, I just talked to a daycare. Like I'm gonna go to a daycare, so and I got a couple of elementary schools that I reached out to. So we steady doing the reading book tour to grow big on good ground. Hey, if you're an elementary school, bring me on out. I'm coming read to the kids. But then also, man,
Need
this
this in
Christmas.
costume too.
Yeah, in costume, Farmer David. Like, we loaded out, we Farmer David to the kids. So it's like working, like I said, working with the schools, I was sharing with a principal that I wanted to like start giving scholarships to students too. So like, any like money that I would make, if the schools would purchase books from me or things like that, like I wanted to start giving back to the students in a way of starting scholarships. So I was like, man, this coming up year, man, be so cool if I could just, give a student a scholarship. So she was like, that's awesome, David. But why just one student? And I was like, huh? And she was like, no, listen, you ever thought about like starting a nonprofit where you could partner with the refineries and different sponsorships and all that around here, where you could probably give more than one student a scholarship? And I was like, man, it just hit me. Like, when sometimes some people say stuff, it go in one ear out the other. But some stuff some people say, it stick to your spirit. And it just like that stuck, man. And so I've been talking about starting a nonprofit, just like talking about it, because I don't even know how to do it. But I was just, talking about it around the house, just everywhere I go. And then so this Christmas, you know, um, I opened up my first present that my wife gave me. So my wife, she has a business where she does business formation, tax preparation, and she does nonprofit setup. So I opened up my Christmas present, and it's my nonprofit certification papers. So my wife went behind my back, started a nonprofit, and just
Wow.
kind of just pushed me
Wow.
out there. And sometimes we need that push because I just was talking about it. You know what I'm saying? I didn't really like, and don't get me wrong, I was talking about it. I was trying to learn. I'm trying to meet people that done nonprofits to give me some insight. But then my wife surprised me with the papers that I have the nonprofit. So we're starting Good Ground Empowerment Foundation. It's here. So with that being said, I'm still doing youth development. So I want to bring what I'm already doing in my business, but partner that with my LLC with my nonprofit, so I can have a bigger impact, man, on students. We could do scholarships, we could do student conferences. It's just the sky's the limit. So I'm in the process of that, man. I met an awesome grant writer, man, Keisha Hester, and she's teaching me about how to get grants and all that kind of stuff. So, man, I'm excited, bro, because like once I get the sponsorships and the grants and all that, man, I can have a bigger impact in my community, bro. I could do more because
Right.
stuff it take money. So
Yes,
I
it
believe
does.
this nonprofit, it could help that. So really, that's like the biggest baby that gave birth that I'm so excited about, man. And I thank God for my wife for just pushing me out there. Like, hey, here go the paperwork. Now you got it. Now what you gonna do? So,
Right.
so now I'm outside again.
Guess you found a good thing, like they say, right?
That's what the Bible say, man, for real.
Man, well, I appreciate you sharing your story, man. It's very inspirational and just a lot of great takeaways of how things can turn around.
Most definitely.
Oftentimes, our vision is limited, and you've come a long way, obviously. And so I
Yes,
hope
sir.
people have found inspiration in that, and I know I found inspiration in it. It makes me excited, and so again, man, I appreciate you sharing your story with us.
Nah, most definitely, man. It was an honor to be here, brother. Like I said, I appreciate you, man, when you take the time out just to give me a conversation, and just give me some encouraging words and talk the strategies and all that, man. Like I said, man, you're a part of an answered prayer. Because one of my prayers is that I'm able to share my story around the world so other people could get hope, so other people could be encouraged that like their life don't have to stay like this, even to give encouragement to the mothers out there that might have children that then went astray. Because through it all, my mama never gave up on me, man. She kept praying for me. I come home 6 in the morning full of every drug, and my mama didn't even fuss at me. She'll just say, "You hungry?" And she just loved me, bro. Like throughout that process, she loved me. You know what I'm saying? And that love brought me to repentance, where I was like, man, I got to do better for my mom. It wasn't even for me at first. So it was for my mama, and it's like so it's parents out there, man, that their kids went the wrong way, man. I just want to encourage the parents, man, keep praying for your kids, keep loving your kids, and one day they could have their testimony and they walk in their purpose, man. And it just starts from love, bro. So I appreciate you, man, being a part of my answer prayer for me.
Dr. Martin, keep winning at being you
Yes, sir.
and
You know
turning
it.
that message into a movement. Thank
You
you
know
all for
it.
listening. See you next time.
All right. See y'all later.